Hello, my friends. If you can see this live, I'm just waiting for the thing to click on. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today, I'm going to walk through what I do when my content isn't hitting. I feel like I'm in a rut, I'm not getting engagement, or any of those things are happening. And I say this because it's not like a if things are happening or if we run into challenges. It's actually just when we're running into challenges. I've been online for 9 years creating content every single week. And I remember once I actually did a podcast specifically called Why This Podcast is Terrible This Week. And I walked through some of the things that I wasn't doing that was, creating like this just total brain fart when it came to content. And so I'm going to walk through four different things. And I'm really, actually, I think I have five here. So let's go ahead and walk through it. By the way, if you can relate to being uninspired, stuck, or maybe posting something that's low engagement, can you just write, like, I can relate to this in the chat? That way I won't feel so alone. Other people won't feel so alone, and we can all feel better, and then we can get to fixing it. So the first thing that I typically do and recommend for my clients is stop using ChatGPT as my vice president of marketing. It is a robot, and ChatGPT is great for things like brainstorming and condensing and consolidating, but tends to be pretty generic. And sometimes when I am getting stuck and I try to use ChatGPT, it doesn't work. Like, I sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And so what I found to just be my like really big go-to on creating really really useful content, would be to ask people, either Facebook community members or paid clients, like when it comes to a specific outcome, what's hard for you? So the specific phrase is, I'm looking to make some useful content. What's hard for you when it comes to blank? So I have a client in our What to Say coaching program, and she was having a hard time getting engagement. And so she just put this post up. She had two people respond. One person put four very specific things that she was struggling with. Another put one specific thing. That's five pieces of content that will for sure hit, because if one person is saying it, then probably most of our target market is also saying it, thinking it, or feeling it. So the number one tip is to ask people, actual humans, I'm looking to make useful content. What is hard for you when it comes to blank outcomes? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, even if you only have one client, use them as a muse for your content. So every question they ask, it's not like personal nature or wouldn't break confidentiality or anything like that. We just turn into a video or a piece of content. And so I'll say things like, I just got asked this specific question, thought it might be helpful to more than just one person. And I'll answer the question and ask people if it was helpful, and like talk to them as if they're the person. And that really, really helps. My very first client, Catherine, I'm just so grateful for this client. She was so great. I poured way more energy. I mean, she like paid for 2 hours a month, and I think I gave her like 20 hours. But I was really learning more. And so every question she asked me, I didn't sweat about whether or not I already had something, already knew the answer. If she asked me a question, I'd be like, okay, that's great. No one's ever asked me that before. Let me think about it and get back to you. And then I could think about it, or I could do a little bit of research. And then that was what I turned into content on social media, because I knew if it applied to Catherine, it applied to someone else. And so I use my clients as muses all the time. If they ask me something and I think it's going to relate, I am going to create some content on this. And the reason I'm doing this today is because we had a client specifically in our What to Say coaching program that's like, my client stuff is not getting engagement. What should I do? And I was like, well, here's what I do when I'm in those situations. The third thing, and yes, I've broken my finger playing basketball, is to use clear, practical language versus vague, aspirational language. People stop their newsfeed when something is practically relevant. I remember thinking, like, when somebody was like, here's the thing that you use to cut a watermelon. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's so practically relevant. That solves a specific obstacle that keeps me stuck on eating watermelons. Now, as experts, we always want to talk about the big picture, the theory, the research, the science. And yes, we want to back stuff up with research. and back stuff up with big pictures and use analogies for sure. But the actual topic, we want it to be very, very simple. So, for example, if I were to write a video that's like how to get clients from your Facebook group, that would be so big and broad. I wouldn't be able to create quick wins because it's just like there's multiple steps in that. But I just did a call to action the other day that was I just figured out how to live stream Zoom into a Facebook group. Who wants a tutorial? It wasn't even my content, but it was this really, really small thing that I knew that people were struggling with because I was also struggling with it. And I got like 50, 60, 70, 80. I don't remember exactly how many comments I got, but it was a lot. And all of those people have Facebook groups. So it's perfect, right? And so I know all those people have Facebook groups and they want to create content for their Facebook groups. And so those are people that I can help. So use clear, practical language. Think about their day to day. The fourth is to read or consume content in your niche to spark inspiration, get out of a rut. Look at YouTube channels or ads for people that are influential in your niche. Read, right? If we're obsessed with our topic, we're probably doing that anyway. And the reason I had a podcast that was like, let me tell you why this podcast was terrible. It was because I had stopped reading. I had stopped input, and without input, we can't have output. And so if we think of our content as like we're pouring out onto people, if we have nothing that's pouring into us, we're gonna have a really, really hard time pouring into others. And so we have to keep like the tap on. We have to have a water source into our brain. Maybe that sounds really cheesy. And so that means, right, we got to have in the area of expertise. Like, so if you're a health coach and you're learning, a lot of your professional development time is in like learning sales and marketing, I applaud that. But like, let's make sure we read at least one chapter a week or listen to one podcast that's specifically on improving health, because it will create some creativity and it'll help you to first know what's working, and then also just go out there and create good content. That's the fourth. The fifth thing is in the last 28 days, 4 of our top performing posts have been videos. That's better than I've ever done before. And I am going to tell you the secret, and the secret is this piece of paper. I think Karen talked about this last week, but if you missed this video, I'm going to tell you again, is I type it up in my notes. And then I just tell people, if you want my notes for this video, you can have it, right? Because there's usually like a script in there that I say, or steps, or people can print it out and try it. But I always show it visually. If it's in my notebook and I've just written it out, I just fold up my notebook and I'm like, I'll have one of the kids type it out if that's helpful. And then if someone makes a note, I can invite them to an event that's relevant, or invite them to a one-on-one or whatever. And so that really helps with the content. And if people are not asking for the notes, then I know like, okay, that is not a topic that I want on the list. So all that to be said, here are my notes. If you like the notes, go ahead and put a comment. And if you can just relate to any of these, or if you want to drop your takeaways for people that are just, following along in the comments, we'd really appreciate it. We are trying to really make relevant, useful content for you so you can have sales and marketing success in your business. And so if you just want to send me a message or drop a comment or ask in the group, like, I'm struggling with this, can you please create some content around that? That would be really, really helpful for me, and I think really, really helpful for the group. So let's do this. I'm going to go. I have a client right now. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you soon.